What's up? Today on deck we got 6ix9ine and his debut project DAY69. 6ix9ine is a New York native rapper that has been not really, definitely been extremely blowing up over the last few months with hits like Gummo and Kuda, and recently Kiki, and really recently Billy. There's been a lot of talk about what this album's gonna come out like, with him being a very controversial person and his music being kind of edgy. And so a lot of people were really interested. And now that it's here, there's kind of been a really wide range of people's thoughts. But really it's more like, once I kind of looked down at who was saying what, it kind of seems like, from my experience, from what I've seen, is that the hype beasts are the ones really praising it, which kind of makes sense, and then everybody else is kind of meh, it's alright, or hates on it. 6ix9ine's also had his fair share of drama with his legal issues in the past coming to light now that he's pretty famous, and a lot of people don't even know, but it's way back in 2014. It's been settled for a while. So it's kind of weird how once you're in the public eye, stuff like that before you even really had a name starts to blow up. And then also his beef with Peerborn, and Trippie Redd was stealing the beat to Gummo, and then random shit with Trippie. And then more recently, now the back and forth, or not really back and forth, more the Tumblr artist has accused either 6ix9ine or whoever made his album cover of stealing a part of it. Tekashi on the front is the way he is drawn is exactly hair, everything traced exactly from the artist. So pretty obvious, but who knows if 6ix9ine actually knew about that. To be frank, I was quite surprised at what I thought of the mixtape. No, don't get my impression wrong, I didn't like it. It was just much better than I thought it would be. Leading up to the mixtape, Gummo had some pretty amazing, solid production that really 6ix9ine wasn't even supposed to have, so kind of takes away from that. And then Kiki, which was the final single released before the mixtape, I really liked the features, in particular Fetty Wap's chorus and his verse was really the shining star to me. And then Boogie also held his ground, but 6ix9ine didn't really seem to do anything for me on the track. But that was really the first track by 6ix9ine that I somewhat liked. The album pretty much carried this torch going into the album with just this kind of outstanding production, especially on songs like Dewey and Chocolate. And with Dewey, there's this absolutely destructive, raw, just beat that just destroys everything. It kind of obliterates you the first time you hear it, but after you kind of listen to it a few times, it's kind of really interesting. And but it kind of melts out 6ix9ine though. As aggressive as his voice is, it somehow still gets drowned out by this gaunting beat that just weighs over him. And then I'd also like to point out that kind of woo that kind of happens throughout the chorus, and that really kind of brings out that ultimate hype level in it. But there is I feel like this song did have a lot more chance of being a lot better chance of being one I appreciated, except a real downer on it was the fact that the entire chorus is pretty much 6ix9ine just saying yeah, 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 yeah. Chocolate almost has this kind of EDM-esque type production, and it's definitely not EDM, but it just sounds like they're using a lot of stuff that would be. It definitely still has this very banger trap vibe to it, but especially with this really high-pitched synth that kind of wires throughout the song. At first I couldn't really tell if I really liked it, but it kind of grew on me, and then I was like, alright, yeah, this is alright, I kind of like it. And now it's probably my favorite track. Also, this is what Dewey was missing, with a chorus that actually kind of stood out to me. Ironically, this one does repeat itself over and over again, but it just seems a lot better, a lot more hype, a lot more rhythmic, and it really beat itself into me. It almost kind of seems weird to me how I was sitting outside of these songs, like, and everybody else was inside enjoying them, or not everybody, but a lot of people I saw inside enjoying them, and I was like, I wonder why I don't like it, like, or I wonder why they like it and I don't. Like, I wish I could experience what they're feeling. And now with Chocolate, it's kind of like I'm finally having that experience, and I can see why people really kind of like his music, but it didn't really raise the bar in any of his other tracks for me. Rondo and Kiki were the other two tracks I liked pretty much, but I already kind of talked about the Kiki with their features, but the features on Rondo is also what I liked. I mean, Tory Lane's kind of smooth vocals kind of really make the chorus kind of neat, like his voice normally is, and that was pretty much the highlight. I mean, 6ix9ine, really not much. Young Thug, like a boogie, kind of pulls his weight, but it's a really short song for 3 people. I'm seeing a lot of people that are really like hyped on Billy as well, but it really didn't just stick out to me though. It had this beaten to death beat, and it, in two senses, I mean, too. I mean, for one, it's like those string noises that are used in it, those are used on so many tracks. I'm so tired of hearing it, and it's so rare that you'll ever really be able to hear one like that, or at least for me, that I'll be able to hear one like that I really appreciate anymore, just because it's so repetitive and reused and repasted on so many different trap songs by lower artists, if that's kind of not real appreciative term, but you get what I'm saying. But then, like, in the other sense, it's like it's just so extreme and throws itself at you, but not really like in the way that I appreciate, like on Dewey. This one's more just kind of ear blasting and annoying. The distorted piece 93 is probably my least favorite track on the project, and it just destroys my ears. I mean, they just turned up the distortion all the way up, and it just kind of eats everything else in the song. It's nothing else memorable about it but that annoying sound. Then the last track I want to touch on is the Gummo remix with Offset. Why does this exist? It's a really unnecessary combination that didn't really catch the eye of practically anybody other than what I would think maybe like Migos aficionados. Plus, in the first place, remixes are just such a ridiculous thing to put on the album when there's already the original. Like, who wants to hear the same song twice, just maybe with an extra verse on an album, especially when it's only like 27 minutes, the entire album. After looking over what I've written and listened to, it's pretty clear to me that whatever I like about this album isn't 6ix9ine. While he does have his momentary shine of light gleam down on him, his additions were really part of what brought it down, and I'm trying to weigh this album as a whole, which makes me want to give it a 4. I almost feel as if this was a producer that did all this, and then like all the artists were different but still relatively sounded the same, like 6ix9ine, I would probably even give this a 5 or 6, just because the focal point would be the production, which is pretty good, but of course you do have to have other stuff that supports it, and 6ix9ine being a feature would not be my first choice. But looking at it from the aspect of 6ix9ine is the focal point, I really don't see what's so attractive to all this. I mean, I get it on like Chocolate, but that's about it. So let me know what you thought of the mixtape and the review and what I should talk about next. So yeah, talk to you later.